गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन किशोरानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय श्री राधा माधव अष्ट सखी वृंद की श्री श्री पंचतत्व की श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assemble devotees all glories to assemble devotees all glories to assemble devotees Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. This morning we are reciting from the chapter Creation of the Universal Form, Canto 3, Chapter 6, text number 35. ये तत्क्षत्तर्भगवतो दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः कः श्रद्धयात् उपाकर्तुं योगमायाबलोदयम्। ये तत्क्षत्तर्भगवतो दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः कः श्रद्धयात् उपाकर्तुं योगमायाबलोदयम्। ये तत्क्षत्तर्भगवतो दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः कः श्रद्धयादुपाकर्तुं योगमायाबलोदयम्। दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः कः श्रद्धयादुपाकर्तुं योगमायाबलोदयम्। एतत्क्षत्तर्भगवतो दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः कः श्रद्धयादुपाकर्तुं योगमायाबलोदयम्। ये तत्क्षत्तर्भगवतो दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः कः श्रद्धयादुपाकर्तुं योगमायाबलोदयम्। माताजी, ये तत्क्षत्तर्भगवतो दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः कः श्रद्धयादुपाकर्तुं योगमायाबलोदयम्। एतत्क्षत्तर्भगवतो दैवकर्मात्मरूपिणः kaha shraddhayadupakartum yogamaya balodayam etat. This Kshattaha, O Vidura, Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Daiva Karma Atma Rupinaha, of the gigantic form of transcendental work, time and nature. Kaha, who else? Shraddhadyat, can aspire. Upakartum, measure in totality. Yogamaya, internal potency. Balavodayam, manifested by the strength of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. O Vidura, who can estimate or measure the transcendental time, work and potency of the gigantic form manifested by the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Purport. The froggish philosophers may go on with their mental speculations on the subject matter of the Virat, the gigantic form exhibited by the Yogamaya, internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But factually, no one can measure such a vast exhibition. In Bhagavad Gita 11.16, Arjuna, the recognized devotee of the Lord, says, Aneka bahudara vaktra netram pashyami tvam sarvatonanta rupam nantam namadhyam cha punastavadim pashyami vishveshara vishwarupa. O my Lord, O gigantic Vishwarupa form, O Master of the universe, I see innumerable hands, bodies, mouths and eyes in all directions, and they are all unlimited. I cannot find the end of this manifestation, nor do I see the middle nor the beginning. Bhagavad Gita was specifically spoken to Arjuna, and the Vishwarupa was exhibited before him at his request. He was awarded the specific eyes to see this Vishwarupa, yet although he was able to see the Lord's innumerable hands and mouths, he was unable to see him completely. Since Arjuna was unable to estimate the length and breadth of the potency of the Lord, who else would be able to do so? One may only indulge in miscalculation like the frog philosopher. The frog philosopher wanted to estimate the length and breadth of the Pacific Ocean by his experience of a well 3 cubic feet large. And thus he began to puff himself to become as big as the Pacific Ocean. But at last he burst and died by this process. This story is applicable to the mental philosophers who, under the illusion of Lord's external energy, indulging in estimating the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord, the best path is to become a cool-headed, submissive devotee of the Lord. Try to hear about the Lord from the bona fide spiritual master, and thus serve the Lord in transcendental loving service, as suggested in the previous verse. So I am very grateful for the opportunity that's offered to me to discuss the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sridham Mayapur is a place where there are many devotees practicing for several decades here. And I may not be able to present the scripture perfectly. So if there is any flaw in my presentation, I beg in advance to be forgiven. The Shastras are very vast and great contradictions in the Shastras are all resolved by the most enlightened Acharyas by dint of their spiritual vision. But in the Bhagavatam itself, the example is given, just like every bird has the ability to fly to different heights. Some birds fly up to this much, some birds fly higher. So I am one small bird. I will fly to whatever extent I can in explaining this purport to the best of my understanding. The main point that Srila Prabhupada makes here is Lord's potencies are extraordinary and they cannot be fathomed by our limited human capability. As soon as you hear this about how our speculation cannot fathom the Lord, one pastime that instantly comes to my mind is Brahma Vimohan Leela. When in the Brahma Vimohan Leela is special Leela because Lord only engages his pure devotees or very advanced devotees sometimes to perform some Leela and teach the world some important lessons. So when Brahma was once doing puja in his own puja room, at that time he heard the kettle drums being played. And there was a big celebration, pomp and great sounds. So when Brahma came out and asked the demigods, what happened? What is the celebration going on? There must be something unique, festival, unique and special. So they said, Lord Krishna performed a miracle. What is that miracle? The cowherd boys entered the mouth of Aghasura, snake. And Lord Krishna did not want it, but still they entered by the influence of the leela Shakti. See, the leela Shakti of the Lord is a potency which assists the Lord to enhance the bliss of the Lord and his devotees, both. How she will act is so extraordinary that she can even surprise the Lord also by the way she acts. For example, Leela Shakti was wondering, the boys want to enter the mouth of Aghasura, whereas Krishna is watching and thinking that they should not enter. So whose desire to fulfill? Should I stop them from entering the mouth of Aghasura to please Krishna, or should I allow them to enter? So Leela Shakti observed that the cowherd boys were super confident. One boy was telling another boy, in case Aghasura happens to be a snake and not just a beautiful mountainscape, and in case we all go inside and get trapped, Bhakavan Vinangshasi, he said, just like Bakasura was killed by Krishna, same manner he will kill Aghasura, what is the problem? So he was fully confident in Krishna. So then they all entered. And Krishna was astonished, taken by surprise. So Krishna said, since all my friends have entered, I have to save them. So better that I also enter along with them to save them. So Krishna also entered the mouth of Aghasura. And then Aghasura was waiting for Krishna. As soon as Krishna entered, he closed his mouth. So everybody, the job is over now. All the cowherd boys are inside, Krishna is also inside, my job is almost over, he thought. Yeah, that's what he was waiting for with his unblinking eyes staring at Krishna and cowherd boys. At that time, all the demigods in the sky cried out, alas, alas. They thought, what's going to happen to our Lord? You see, the demigods have drunken nectar, amritam. Still they are afraid of their own death, and they are even afraid of the security of the Lord. Of course, Acharyas have said, demigods, the fear about security of the Lord is also out of their love for the Lord also. At the same time, the demigods, unlike pure devotees, are afraid of the demon. They thought that if demon finishes Krishna and cowherd boys, later on the demon will say, hey, you guys are watching from the sky and teasing me, now I'll finish you also. So they were afraid. But the cowherd boys who had never taken nectar, they confidently entered into the mouth of Aghasura. Anyway, Krishna at that time did one miraculous thing. He thought, my friends are inside the body of Aghasura, and if I put a bomb on the head of Aghasura, then along with Aghasura, all my friends also will die. And if I don't kill Aghasura, then Aghasura will, eat them up and digest them in his belly. All of them will perish. So he was wondering. This reminds me, In Bombay one time, there is a hotel Taj in Bombay where the terrorists took some foreign nationals into hostage. Maybe 5, 6 of them. They took them into hostage. Keeping them with them, they threatened the police. Now the police have to save those foreign nationals. At the same time, they have to catch the terrorists. How many of you think it's a little tough job? So Krishna's job was also like that. Here is a combination of Aghasura and coward boys. He has to save the coward boys and kill Aghasura. Because in the course of killing Aghasura, who should not die? That is why demigods are wondering how Krishna is going to accomplish it. And Krishna is best in everything he does. So he went in the throat of Aghasura and he expanded his body. Why he did that? Because all coward boys are asleep. Nobody saw him expanding except himself. So he expanded his body. Oh! Either Aghasura screamed and his 2 eyes popped out and his skull broke. The soul came out. Aghasura was delivered. Therefore, the demigods clapped hands and showered flowers, rejoiced Krishna's success. Krishna saved coward boys and killed Aghasura. So when demigods told Brahma about what happened, Brahma was also amazed. At that time, one thought arose in Brahma's mind. These demigods are too much, rejoicing, wondersome activity, wonder-producing activity. Now, I also would like to show something wonderful. He thought, a desire arose in his mind. Actually, Lord Krishna makes his devotees sometimes do certain things by which the world can learn a lesson. After that, Brahma took his swan carrier and came down and watched Krishna and coward boys sitting in the bank of Yamuna. And you all know the pastime of Brahma Vimohan Leela, how it happened. So, one another lesson, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has given us, very important lesson, especially for very senior leaders. He says that Brahma gave service to all the demigods. You go here, you go there, you do this, you do that. But he forgot to give service to himself. So, because he had no service to do, he got into speculation, he says. So, it's a very great lesson. Sometimes in delegation and empowerment, if we delegate and empower many people and we don't take up any service, idle man's mind is a devil's workshop. So, Brahma came down. As Brahma saw the sight, and then, as you all know, he stole the cows and calves. He stole the calves and the covered boys. He hid them in a cave and went for a moment to his Satyaloka and came back. So when he came back, his expectation was Krishna would be searching for the calves, he would be searching for the covered boys. He will come to me and fall at my feet and beg me, "Sir, I think you have hidden somewhere. Please kindly liberate my boys and calves. I salute you." If he does it, then Krishna is an ordinary covered boy. And if he doesn't do it, he does something extraordinary, then maybe he is God. He must be God. So that was his conclusion. So when Brahma came back, as you all know, he saw 2 sets. One set of covered boys and calves here and another set there. When Brahma would go to the cave and see them there, he would come back here and see here. So he was wondering, I think by the time I come back, Krishna puts them all here. By the time I go there, he takes and puts them there. But how can he transport so many of them so quickly? He thought. So with all his 4 heads, he speculated, and his speculation did not reach him to any conclusion. He got even more confused with his 4 heads, and his body is made up of intelligence. You can imagine. A person whose body is made of intelligence, who has 4 heads, who is the first created living being of the universe, who is the Swayambhu, born in the navel lotus of the Supreme Lord, extremely powerful, who does the secondary creation in this world. Even he is not able to ascertain the power of the Supreme Lord. He got bewildered. At that time, Krishna, seeing that Brahma is too much troubled, he expanded all the covered boys into Vishnu forms. At that time, Brahma was like stunned. He felt himself very insignificant. Evam sammohayan Vishnum vimoham vishvamohanam swayaiva mayaya jopi swayameva vimohita. He says, Evam sammohayan Vishnu. He's saying, he tried to bewilder Krishna or Vishnu. Vimoham Vishwamohanam. Vimoham, Lord can never be put into illusion. And that Lord puts the whole world in illusion. You all have seen, sometimes in a corner you see a spider's web. You have seen that? Spider goes like this, like this, it goes on like this, and finally it sits in the center after making the entire spider's web. And the spider doesn't get entangled. Who gets entangled? And the fly, some moth or something which comes flying. And the moth is looking at the design. Oh, the design is very beautiful. Goes round and round and gets stuck in that. Similarly, Lord Vishnu is lying in the middle in causal ocean and he is expanding millions of universes from his body. And he's relaxing very coolly in Yoga Nidra. But all of us, jivas, we get entangled in this world when we come. Vimoham Vishwamohanam, he's saying. Swayaiva Maya Ajopi, Swayameva Vimohita. So he wanted to bewilder Krishna with his Maya potency, but he was defeated. He himself got bewildered, it is said. So the top-notch scientist of the entire creation is Brahma, the first created scientist, we can say. Why I am using the word scientist? One day, Brahma's son Narada, in the second canto, 5th chapter, you will read. That chapter is entitled The Cause of All Causes. You will read. He's asking, my dear father, when I look at this creation, besides you, I don't see anyone sitting here. You are sitting on the lotus, and you have 4 heads, and you are managing and organizing and monitoring and controlling and everything you are doing. Yad rupam, yad adhishtanam, yat srishtam yidam prabhu, yat samstam, yat param, yatcha, tat tatvam vada tatpataha. Please tell me, how did this universe come about? Who is the creator of this? How is it maintained? How all the supplies are all done in this world? Who is the leader of this universe? Are you the leader? Amalaka vadvishwam vijnana vasitam tava. He is saying, just like if I am holding a watermelon in my hand, everybody can see it. Can you hide it? Similarly, you are having the whole universe in your hand and you are manipulating and controlling and creating and doing everything. I think you must be God, he told them. Brahma simultaneously became angry and joyful also. Any of you experienced such emotion ever? Why? He said, my dear son, I am upset with you because you are calling me God, he said. Tasmai namo bhagavate vasudevaya dhimahi yanmayaya durjaya mam vadanti jagat gurum. He said, hey, you are calling me God? I am not God, you foolish son. You are seeing me as God because you don't see anyone besides me. At the same time, I am very happy with you for your question, because your question has made me remember my Lord Vasudeva, who is the ultimate master, the imperishable master, eternal master, everlasting master, master of all masters. Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram Tam Daivatanam Paramam Chadaivatam Patim Patinam Paramam Parastat Vidamadevam Bhuvaneshwamitam. He is the master of all masters. He is the only leader whose position never changes. Otherwise in this world everybody comes and goes. So he said, he is the one who has put me here. He is the one who has empowered me. He is like a sun and we are all like fireflies, he said. Yena sarochisha vishwam rochitam rochayamyaham. He is saying, yatarkognir yata somo yatarkshagraha tarakaha. He is telling, he gives a seed, I am a gardener who sows the seed and waters it, and then I am growing the plants. So, why are you glorifying gardener as the source of everything? I have only rochitam rochayamyaham. He gives the seed and I develop it. He is aham bija pradapita, is not me. Who is it? Krishna, he is saying. So in this way, Brahma very honestly glorifies Krishna as his master, Krishna as the supreme. Same thing with Yamaraj also. When Yamadutas went and told Yamaraj that, my dear sir, we thought you are the ultimate and there is no one besides you. And we were very proud of being the servant of the greatest master in the universe, which is yourself, Yamaraj. And now today, in one place when we were capturing one sinful Ajamila with our ropes were cut to pieces by some three or four very effulgent personalities whose bodies were bluish. They had 4 arms, they had helmet and earrings and beautiful handsome features, and they were all very powerful. and they cut off the ropes and they drove us away. So we are surprised. Is there someone besides you? And Yamaraja kneeled down and prayed to Supreme Lord Narayana, please forgive my servants, because they have acted inappropriately with your devotee Ajamila, who called out your name Narayana. And then he told them, Narayana is the supreme. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam na vai vidurishayo napi devaha na siddha mukhya asura manushya kutonu vidya daracharana deyaha. Swayambhu narada shambhu kumara kapilo manu prahlado janako vishmo balirvaya sakirvayam dvadashayete vijanimo dharman bhagavatan bhataha guhyam vishuddham durbodham yajñatva amritamashnute. He says the truth can only be spoken by God. For example, say I have a Reynolds pen. Anybody has a Reynolds pen here? In a Reynolds pen has a blue cap and a white body, isn't it? So I hold the blue cap in my hand and I show the white body of the pen, and I'm standing near the blackboard and showing and asking all of you, what is it? What is everybody likely to say? It's a chalk, because it's called contextual vision. You see it in relation to the board and think that Prabhuji is having a chalk. Maybe he's going to write something on the board. Maybe thinking. But then I tell one Prabhuji, I tell Kaushik, this is not a chalk. What is it? It's a pen. Understand, it is a pen. And he tells him. In this way, the entire room of Prabhuji's, Mataji's, everybody has heard from the neighbor that it is not a chalk, it is a pen. Although for your vision, it looks like a chalk. In reality, it is not a chalk, it is this is called as Shruta Ikshita Pad. Shruta means to hear, Ikshita means to see. Hear and see. That is the Vedic path. Vedic path means you see through the ears. You don't see through the eyes at all. You have to see through the ears. Why we have to see through the ears? Our eyes are defective. Say, you go to a lab where there is a glass kept. Nowadays is a very hot season, summer season. It looks like some lemon juice. You feel like immediately taking and drinking. And all the more so because next to that glass there is 2 pieces of cut lemon which is squeezed out. So you are sure there are lemon pieces, there is a glass of, looks like dull water, it looks like lemon. When you are about to drink, your mind tells you better check with the laboratory man what it is. So you just ask him, can I take this lemon juice? He says, hey sir, don't touch it. This is acid. So then you are shocked. He says, if you put the acid in your tongue, you will have a hole in your tongue. So you are saved because you asked. Therefore, atato brahma jignasa. Those who ask only can be saved. Don't try to speculate with your eyes. Ask questions. When you ask, then hear, then we can see with proper hearing. So, in this way, it's called as Shruta Ikshita Pat. Where does this word come? Shruta Ikshita. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ase Shrute Kshita Pato nanunata pumsam yad yadhiyata urgaya vibhavayanti tat tat papu pranayase sadanugrahaya. Second line says, Shruta Ikshita, the word comes. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ase Shruta Ikshita Pato nanunata pumsam. He says that the people who adopt the path of hearing in Guru Parampara about you, my dear Lord, they alone can have the vision to see you. Otherwise, there is no possibility. By speculating. For example, if you ask somebody, where is my nose? They tell me, this is your nose. What is this? How it can be so simple? Easily you are saying, I will figure out where my nose is myself. Is this my nose? No. Is it my nose? No. Is it my nose? No. After a long time of deciding, this is my nose. This is called as Bahunam Janma Namante. Jnanavan Mam Prabhatit. After many, many lifetimes you will come to the truth. Or if you hear in Guru Parampara directly, then you don't have to go roundabout way. Directly one can learn. So one should hear and learn. So you can see the Brahma, the first created living being, most knowledgeable, most intelligent. He was bewildered, and then the prayers that he offered are extraordinary prayers. What he prays in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, extraordinary prayers. Atapite deva padam bhujadvaya prasada lesha nugruhita evahi Janati tatvam bhagavan mahimno nachanyameko pichiram vichilman Shreya shrutim bhakti mudasyate vibho klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdhaye tesham asau kleshalaye vashishyate nanyat yatastu latushavagatinam. Is telling, my dear Lord, in this world, anyone gives up your lotus feet, turns away from you, becomes covered by ignorance. They find the glitter and glamour of this world very charming to their hearts. And because of that false charms, they become completely bound by the ropes of three gunas, tamaguna, rajaguna especially. And being bound by the ropes and illusion, they can never understand you. On the contrary, what happens to those people? Because they have discovered your lotus feet, even though they speculate about you, the more they speculate, what is it like? He gives an example. You take a husk and you beat the husk, but the husk, already the rice is removed from the husk by somebody else before. What you have is an empty husk. You pick it up and you hit it. Will you get anything? Brahma says, definitely you get something. What is it? Shoulder pain, he says. That's the only thing you get. Nothing else you get. He says, na kleshalayeva shishyate. Speculation leads to more confusion. Speculation doesn't lead to solution. So, now in this world you see, a car is built by some very good company like Ford or some company. Similarly, you find this table is made by a carpenter. If you see a building erected, it is erected by a civil engineer. Anything wonderful you see, there is always some brain behind it. You will see that. Prabhupada was in Honolulu. One aeroplane, big jumbo jet was flying. One man said, Swamiji, what do you think about this plane? You see, such a big jumbo jet is flying. Prabhupada said, do you agree that this jumbo jet is made by some intelligent man who has assembled it so that people can travel, fly from one place to another? The man said, definitely. He said. Then Prabhupada said, how do you think this world with all such miraculous things like, Jupiter, Saturn, big planets are floating. The sun is put in the sky, the moon is put in the sky. The sun shines, the evening the moon shines. Morning we have a daylight, which is sun. Night you want to go to sleep, there's a night light. What is night light? We'll ask him. What is night light? Moon is a night light, yeah. Why God gave a dim moonlight? Because He knows my children are going to sleep now. Imagine another sun comes in the night. Then all of us will take our laptop and start sitting with the computer again. Isn't it? So, Lord puts a dim light in the night. So, in this way, you see sun shines in the day, moon shines in the night, crops grow, flowers blossom, seasons change, medicinal herbs grow. So many miraculous things are happening in this world. So, Prabhupada said, you can see that somebody is doing all these things, although you don't have the eyes to see who is doing it. Just like if you take a paper and put some iron filings, and you rotate a magnet, all of them move like this, but you don't know how are they moving, because you see only from the top. You don't see below. Behind there is a magnet which is moving it all. And the magnet is all attractive Krishna, who is ultimately moving everything. Without his sanction, no, not even a blade of grass can move. So, why we can't see the Lord moving everything? The reason is explained. Recently I was reading in Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami has given one full section on this, a very, very interesting section, where he begins with this quote, Tarko apratishta shutayo viminna nasa vrishiryasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano ye nagatas sappanta. He's telling, in this world, there are many people arguing about the phenomenon happening in this world. Imagine if a tall fruit from a tree is falling down. Somebody says, one Pandita said, the tall fruit fell down because it has become ripe. Another learned person said, because a crow came and sat, therefore it fell, he said. Another person said, both of you guys are wrong. The wind was blowing very heavily, therefore the tall fruit fell. And fourth fellow said, I agree that wind was blowing, but the fruit must have been ripe also, because only ripe fruit can cut off very easily from the tree, not a not so ripe fruit. He was telling. And what did the fifth fellow do? When these four fellows are arguing, he went to the tree and took the tall fruit, ate and went away. He is very intelligent, isn't it? He didn't get into debate. So in this world you will see there is physics, there is chemistry, there is biology, there is so many different fields where people are talking and arguing about what is truth or what is not about this world. And there is a lot of research going on. But Prabhupada asked a very nice question. The dog is running on 4 wheels and you are running on 2 legs. What is the difference? What kind of progress is that? Why do you run from here to there, that to here? What is your goal? Just like in a cricket you see, one fellow is throwing the ball, other fellow is running from here to here all day. When I saw in South India in one house, one fellow was watching cricket from morning 10 to evening 4. I was shocked. I came in the morning to his house at 10. Evening when I came at 4, he was still watching. I said, are you not bored? It's the same green field, same fellow, this fellow is bowling, this fellow is hitting, running back and forth, back and forth. I saw for 2 minutes, I got fed up. So, because people have no understanding of the purpose of life, goal of life, meaning of life, why do we exist in this world? So, Jiva Goswami says there that the people in this world, the jivas who have turned away from the Lord, who are averse to the Lord does not reveal Himself to them. Because they are averse to Him, the Lord allows them to proceed in the direction of ignorance, which is what they may want to do. He allows them to learn their own lesson. So the jivas who are averse to the Lord, they turn away. And then for them, the night, the dark night of this world is very alluring, attractive. The glitter and glamour is attractive for them. And having taken shelter of false phenomenon of this material world, durashayaye bhagirarthamaninaha, and they become stupid in ignorance. And they are even suffer more because of that. Because they get material pleasure also, they get material pain also. Both of them due to their false identification with the material world. And he says, as far as the devotees of the Lord are concerned, devotees don't suffer so much, he says. Because devotees are more or less free from illusion. And they are not averse to the Lord. They are favorable to the lotus feet of the Lord. But the non-devotees suffer terribly, he says. Many times devotees say in the classes, why Krishna gives suffering to devotees? Actually, devotee suffering is practically insignificant. If you see the drunkards, they suffer from liver cirrhosis. The smokers suffer from lung cancer, you can see that. There are so many sexually transmitted diseases people suffer. And because of envy and enmity and revengeful attitude between the non-devotees, many times there are even murders also. There are beatings and murders and everything. So devotees are completely aloof from all these things. Devotees of the Lord, our lifestyle is pretty simple. Get up in the morning, take a bath, wear tilak in 12 places, come in front of the Lord, chant and dance, do a japa, hear Bhagavatam. If we keep our lives Krishna-centered, a devotee of the Lord becomes more and more inclined to Krishna. So here comes a very important point. He says, because the Lord does not give intelligence to the conditioned souls who are enamored by Maya. That's why Prahlad Maharaj says this, Matirana Krishna Parato Svato. In that verse he says, what they do, because of their uncontrolled senses, they actually progress towards hell, he says. The demons. Their senses are uncontrolled and not engaged in Lord's service, they progress towards the hell. What is that verse? Tamishram, punah punah charvita charvanana. They repeatedly do the same old boring activities, life after life, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And this is their material progress, again and again. You see, there are 3 energies mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Jnana, Dravya, Kriya. So the Dravya is in Tamaguna. Kriya is in Rajoguna. And Jnana is in Satoguna. So if you stick to the Kriya using Dravya, then the ignorance is expanded. Tall buildings, big aeroplanes, big cars, run here, run there, passionate life. So this is life of ignorance, because one is taking the Dravya, the ingredients of the world, and using one's Kriya, one is expanding ignorance by that. On the other hand, one clings to jnana, the knowledge potency of the Lord, one understands that the dravya is not mine. I am not the proprietorship. I am not the proprietor. Everything belongs to Krishna. Then one's kriya will be fruitful, because then one can use the same dravya for making temples. Then one can actually use them. Krishna artha akila cheshta. Use everything in Krishna's service. So, in this way, the Supreme Lord leaves the task of delivering those ignorant people to the devotees. Lord's mercy follows the mercy of the devotee. Just like you will see Nalakur Manigriva, they were not delivered by Lord Krishna directly. First they got the encounter with Narada. And when Narada cursed them to become trees, then later on when Krishna saw those two trees, he remembered Narada's in a statement. My very dear pure devotee Narada said that I should deliver these two trees. To please the heart of my devotee Narada, I will deliver these trees. Saying like this, Krishna went between the two trees and pulled the grinding mortar, and it broke the two trees and he delivered them. So that means the mercy of the Lord, we can say, comes through the devotee. But in the Rudra Gitam, when Lord Shiva is teaching them a prayer to Prachetas, he is telling the devotees are themselves Lord's mercy. Personified mercy of the Lord, he says. When you see a devotee walking, you should see mercy of the Lord is walking. You should see like that. Lord's mercy. Why? The devotees become vehicles of Lord's mercy to transmit the mercy of the Lord to the other people. Like for example, devotees, you meet a devotee, they give you prasad. They give you a book. They give you a japamala. They lead you to the temple. They show you the deity form of the Lord. They teach you transcendental wisdom by speaking to you. And they are very favorably and compassionately disposed towards you, and they are thinking of how to help you get liberated from your sufferings and go back to Godhead. So Lord Shiva says there is nobody as merciful as devotees, because they are personified mercy of the Lord. So he says that on one hand, the Rudra Gitam Shiva says, on one hand they are completely purified by association with Krishna's lotus feet, because Krishna allows his association for his devotees. But he doesn't allow it for those who are averse to his lotus feet. So there are two types of souls. Those are averse to Krishna, those are favorable to Krishna. So devotees are favorable, so they get Krishna's association, he says. And by that association, they become purified very fastly. And such purified devotees, he says, they have one special qualification, which is they are very merciful to the conditioned souls. So one devotee was telling, Lord is so far away, I can't catch his lotus feet. And I am so fallen, caught in Maya, I am unable to escape from Maya. Maya is completely tying us up with three gunas. So I can't escape from three gunas, nor can I elevate myself to catch the lotus feet of the Lord. So both are impossible. I can't disentangle myself, nor can I catch Lord's lotus feet. So what can I do? You should catch somebody who is in between, which is the devotee. Because the devotee has already become free from the three gunas, and the devotee has already captured the Lord's lotus feet on their hearts, in their hearts. So because of that, if one catches hold of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord is carried by the devotee, it can come. Same thing the demigods are saying in the 10th canto in one prayer, Sadanagraho Bhavan. They are saying that when the acharyas like Prabhupada, when they leave this world and go back to Godhead, they leave behind a process, like 16 rounds chanting, following 4 regulative principles, 64 regulative principles given by Rupa Goswami. They build the temples like this, and they institute certain processes for their followers, and Lord also approves those processes, they are saying. Why? It is instituted by my pure devotee Prabhupada, so I approve the process. Okay, although these fellows are supposed to chant 64 rounds, Prabhupada has approved 16 rounds, and Krishna says, bye-bye, no problem, I accept it. Let them chant 16 rounds and come to my abode. So Lord also accepts and approves such process made by the devotees. So devotees are not touched by material energy, and they are more or less free from material energy. So they don't suffer on one hand. On the other hand, they experience great transcendental bliss because of contact with Krishna. Any contact with Krishna gives great spiritual bliss. Like if somebody is touching a socket, you get a shock. Anybody touches you, they also get a shock. Like that. Similarly, Krishna is Rasa Vigraha. You come in touch with him, you get bliss, and then anyone comes in touch with such a devotee, they also get the bliss. The only person, it is said in Moksha Dharma, the only person Krishna glances, it says, is an exalted person at the time of his birth. Why Krishna glances? Because that birth is the last birth for that great soul. After that, that fellow goes back home, back to Godhead. Tyaktva adeham punarjanmanaiti mameti, he says. So in this way, Krishna's glance falls on devotees. Krishna's glance goes away from non-devotees. How do you know? Like you see, the word parang mukham is used where? In the pastime of when Kalayavana was chasing after Krishna, who was running away. Chelatur Bahyojanam. When he was running fastly, Kalayavana was looking at him. Krishna, what he did? He turned his face away from Kalayavana. Parang mukham, it is said. He did not show his beautiful, lovely face to him. Actually, Kalayavana saw Krishna from a distance. He saw, hey, he has a Vanamala. His color is Shyam Sundar form. His eyes are like lotus petals. And he has a helmet and mukut and everything. He said, Ati Sundaraha. He's very beautiful also. And then he said, Narada has already confirmed, this is how Vasudeva looks. I think he is the person I am looking for. From a distance he saw his beauty. But when he came towards Krishna, Krishna turned away. He didn't show his beautiful smiling face. Nityam pramuditam, it is said. He is always smiling cheerfully, but the cheerful smile of Krishna could not be seen by Kalayavana because Krishna turned his face away and he ran. But when he entered the gufa, Muchukunda gufa, there Muchukunda was sleeping. Krishna woke him up and gave his beautiful darshan. And looking at Muchukunda, Krishna smiled and Muchukunda got the darshan of Krishna, which means to see Krishna's lovely face and beautiful smile, one should put a full stop to sinful activities and one should expand hearing and chanting activities. Yesham tu antagatam papam. Put a full stop to sinful activities. Jananam punya karmanam tedvandva mohanir mukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. One can become very determined in the path of devotional service by stopping all sinful activities and by expanding one's activities of hearing and chanting. So, Muchukunda had already heard and chanted. He had developed affection for the Lord in the previous life. Lord tells him, Prartitam prachuram purvam. In the Purva Janma, you have done so much bhakti to me, Muchukunda. Therefore, I am coming and giving you darshan. So, therefore, the Lord's glance falls on those who are devotees, who are inclined to Lord, favorable to Lord, eager to serve the Lord, eager to meet the Lord, who love the Lord. So, they are very blessed souls, the devotees. So, what we should think in our lives, although I have come into a movement of devotees, I am still a black sheep because I still don't have that type of natural inclination towards the Lord. I have so many sense gratificatory propensities, so many propensities for speculation, so many propensities for independently enacted activities, so much a propensity for glitter and glamour of this world. But my only qualification is I am surrounded by devotees, flanked by devotees who are all engaged in sincere devotion service. Like in Jagannath Puri, in the Rath Yatra time, I saw one old lady, she had practically tears. She was, raising the arms and welcoming Jagannath with great smile. So when you see the devotees who have naturally flowing devotion, we feel how blessed they are. Their heart is running to Krishna's lotus feet. So, in our lives, if we have admiration for devotees, if we don't offend the devotees, if we don't find fault with devotees, and if we understand that devotees are walking, talking scriptures, devotees are walking, talking mercy of the Lord. So that type of correct understanding about the devotees can help us rise above speculative tendencies. Here in this purport, we are reading about how the Lord's virat-rupa is so great. It is not to be assessed by ordinary mortals like a frog in the well, Kopamandu. A frog in the well was having a well which is just 3 feet diameter. But he was asking a frog from the Atlantic, how big is your well? Is it the same size or is it half the size? And the Atlantic frog laughed at him and said, what are you talking? You don't have experience of what an ocean is. Similarly, the spiritual world and Krishna, the truths are so sublime and so exalted. The ordinary mortals who are covered by illusion, who are fascinated by glitter and glamour, who are considering themselves to be the lords of this world, and they want everything to revolve around them, and they want all other living entities to be at their beck and call. Such a foolish living entities who are symptomized, they are epitomized by Hiranyakashipu, is that personality who shows the tendency of such souls. They can never see Krishna. Like that Prahlad Maharaj says. And then Prahlad Maharaj concludes, Naisham matisthavadurukramangrim sprishati anartha yadapago yadartaha mahiya sampadarajo vishekam nishkinchananam navrinita yavat. My dear father, those people who are covered by ignorance, who are averse to the Lord, who have turned away from the Lord, who take shelter of Maya's illusory potency and find the world of Maya to be everything, and nothing beyond this world, eat, drink and be merry, they can never understand the Lord. There is only one way, there is one loophole available for you, my dear father. Take the dust of the lotus feet of Narada like pure devotees and bathe in that dust, which means become submissive to devotees, become obedient to devotees. Then you will be able to fathom the Lord. Otherwise, Lord is inaccessible to conditioned souls who have turned away from Him. So we have to turn towards Him, and that is made possible by association with devotees. Thank you very much. Can we take some 5 minutes questions?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. At the beginning of the creation, just in the context of Lord Brahma talking to Krishna, he asked 4 questions which were led to the Chatushloki, and one of the questions was, how can I perform my service in a way which I will not be overcome by illusion, by pride? Yet we see that he gets illusion every day of his life. So, can you explain how is this?
Lord told Brahma that in the course of your creation, auspicious living entities and vicious living entities, both types of living entities will be taking birth. So Brahma's worry was, what happens if I associate with those vicious living entities and I get degraded in my consciousness, which happens even to ISKCON devotees we have experienced. Sometimes students may come and open their heart to a senior devotee, saying that he had some bad connection with opposite sex, and they tell all their leelas, activities and all. So when you hear those things, he will put a bomb in your heart and he will go away. After that, the mentor, he thinks and contemplates what all this fellow did, and they pollute themselves more and more. So therefore, one of the things that Lord told Brahma was, if you constantly remember me, then there is no possibility of you falling prey to illusion. Just like if a frying pan is very hot, you throw water, like that it just evaporates immediately. Throw more water again, because it is very hot. But if the frying pan is not hot, when you throw water, water is going to remain. So we become wetted in our consciousness because of lack of remembrance of Krishna. So how does remembrance of Krishna come about? That comes by absorption. How does absorption come about? That comes by focused and prolonged and concentrated type of devotion. I'll give one example, it will make it easy. Say, I have a big ice cube kept on a frying pan. And if I put a mild fire, the ice cube is not going to melt. But I have to put intense fire. And if even intense fire is spreaded like this, it may not melt. But it should be focused also. It should be focused fire, intense fire, prolonged fire. Same thing Bhagavatam says, Shruta Sambhrataya Chiram. One should hear about the Lord for prolonged hours. For long time. Kapila says that. For long time you hear. Another thing is said, focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha krun. What I generally do, I read Prabhupada purports. Any other book I read should help me to reinforce my faith in Prabhupada purports. Then only I read. Otherwise my other readings are very less, because if we read too many other things, then we become bahushaka hi anantascha buddhayo avyavasayina. We should read anything that again and again helps us come back to Prabhupada's lotus feet. So that means our reading should be, chanting and reading should be a prolonged period of time, and it should be very focused, and it should be Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Ajeta Purusham Param. He says Tivra Bhakti. The bhakti should be done seriously. What is serious bhakti? In the face of temptations, Haridas Thakur did not fall down. But in the face of temptation, Ajamila fell down. In the face of calamities, Prahlad, Ambarish, they did not give up. But in the face of calamities, Indra, while fighting with Virat-rupa, he gave up in the face of calamities. So serious devotee means one does not give up in the face of calamities and temptations. That's a serious devotee. Yeah. And a strict devotee means one who takes vows and sticks to the vows. If I say Ekadashi day, I want to chant 32 rounds, one should chant 32 rounds, not slacken it. So, and similarly, sincere devotee means one who has no malice towards others, one who is not envious of others, one who has no material motives, and one who is faithfully engaged in according to Guru's instruction. So we have to become sincere, strict, and serious devotee. That is called as Tivrena Bhakti. So Tivrena means then the fire of Bhakti is very intense. When the fire is intense, fire is focused, fire is for prolonged period of time, then the ice cube melts. Not only ice cube melts, it becomes water. Then you keep on heating the water, it becomes bubbles come up, and then eventually it evaporates. So in an evaporated state, it's called steam, we call it. So our absorption is also like that. Our absorption is like, it's always in the consciousness, like Akrura is entering Vrindavan. He has absorption. While entering Vrindavan in that absorbed state of Krishna, he is very fondly remembering Krishna. And he is not thinking of Kamsa, he is not thinking of anything else. So if we want our absorption to be in Krishna, then we have to prepare ourselves for that. And in that absorbed state, what happens? There is a background consciousness which is with Krishna always. And like Lord Chaitanya, wherever he saw a mountain, he thought it is Govardhan. Wherever he saw a forest, he thought Vrindavan. Wherever he saw a river, he thought it is Yamuna, isn't it? So even when he saw the son of Prataparudra who was blackish in color and curly locks of hair, he immediately remembered Krishna. So in this way, if our course of our day's activities help us to remember Krishna, and in the background of our mind, whenever Maya will come to pollute us, we know how to remain aloof and not get just like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. We can keep ourselves like that. I also tell the mentors, youth mentors, don't hear all the description of all the vicious activities that boys have done. If they begin it, you can tell them enough, you know what all people do. Thank you, that's good enough. Keep them with themselves. So we can avoid bad association, because conditioned souls have typical behavior, nothing very extraordinary or wonderful about it. So Brahma was told by the Lord, if you remember me, you will not fall down, he said. So for us, Prabhupada told, remembering Krishna means chanting, hearing, worshipping deity, keeping ourselves busy in devotional activities. Prabhupada says, from the morning you rise from the bed to the time you go to bed at night, you simply have to keep yourself engaged in some form of devotional service. You may be a popular devotee, you may be an unknown devotee, you may be a Prabhuji, you may be a Mataji, you may be a child, you may be an old man, whoever you are. Make sure that you are doing something in relation to Krishna and don't waste time, because if there is a time gap, there is a possibility of propensity for sense gratification. So engage in Krishna service. Prabhupada says you will go back to Godhead if you simply keep yourself engaged in some form of service. We don't have to do something so extraordinary the whole world will applaud for us. But if you maybe my Guru Maharaj was telling, there was one Mataji in London, she used to make a cake. In that she used to write, Hare Krishna or something, she would write, nice design she will put, Kuladri Mataji, I think, isn't it? Kulangani Mataji. So she used to make that and sometimes draw some designs in that. So Maharaj was telling, the only person who will see that design is Radha Landaneshwar, because Lord has a tendency to relish the devotees' devotional service. But everybody else who comes to temple, give them the cake, they put in the mouth. They may not see the detail, but the Lord never fails to notice the detail. And then he said, paying attention to details is a sign of love. So Lord knows who is doing the service lovingly. So we should make an effort to do the services lovingly. Whether others notice or not, Lord will notice it. Keep ourselves absorbed and engaged, and keep a watch over our movement of our mind and consciousness and senses. Where are they going? Prabhupada says, senses are going here. Hey, not there, here. Pull the senses and bring them, pull the mind and bring, pull the consciousness and bring. We all can see consciousness going in some other wrong direction, pull it back and bring it to. I think that way, if you keep doing, that's one thing. Another thing, flank yourself with devotees all around. So that we don't have any chance to connect with non-devotional polluting association. So surround, that is told by Kaviraj Goswami. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says in 19.159-160 Madhya Leela, CC Madhya Leela, there he talks about this thing, creeper of devotion service. He says, fencing means what? Surround yourself with devotees. Krishna also says, Abhyasyana tu kaunteya, vairagyana cha grihate. Feeding and fencing. Like a plant, you feed with water, you feed with sunlight, you feed with gobar, I mean this cow dung, manure and all. These are all feeding, isn't it? And fencing, you put a fence around, and also you remove the weeds and all that. So feeding, fencing mechanism. What to pick, what to drop, we should know. What to feed and what to fence from. So a devotee should exactly know while living in the material world what to receive. That's called Gigo principle, we call it. Good in, good out. Garbage in, garbage out. So garbage should not be allowed to go in. So yes to Krishna, no to Maya. When Maya comes near the ear, you should get rejected. When Krishna's sound vibration comes, it should go inside. Same with our eyes, our ears, now all the senses. Then Rishikesh and Rishikesh Sevana. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhakta Vrinda ki.